Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or even better than that, you could leave me a comment and it would be greatly appreciated. Let me know where you're from. Or else you could donate to my ministry and the charities that I support at garethcahoon3 at gmail.com on PayPal. This one here is about AI in the church. Over 60% of churchgoers worried about AI's influence on Christianity, survey shows. 3 in 5 Protestant churchgoers in the United States say they are worried about artificial intelligence influence on Christianity, according to a new survey that finds deep divisions within congregations over whether pastors should use the technology to prepare their sermons. Among churchgoers surveyed for a new Lifeway research study, 61% expressed concern about AI's effect on the faith, including 67% of evangelicals compared with 55% of those without evangelical beliefs. Caution is an instinctive reaction to new things, and pastors and churchgoers share some concerns around AI. Scott McConnell, Executive Director of Lifeway Research, said in a statement, the majority of younger churchgoers would welcome hearing biblical principles applied to AI in a sermon to help them shape their perspective on it. The study is based on 2 polls, a phone survey of 1,003 Protestant pastors conducted in September 2025 with an error margin of 3.3% points, and an online survey of 1,200 people of American Protestant churchgoers conducted last September with an error margin of 3.2 percentage points. About 45% of churchgoers see nothing wrong with pastors using AI to prepare sermons, while 43% are opposed, including 24 who disagree strongly. A further 13 were undecided. Less frequently, attendees, 48%, were more open to the AI assisted sermon preparation than those who attend weekly, 42%, and as were churchgoers without evangelical beliefs, 49%, versus those with evangelical beliefs at 40%. Churchgoers are still evenly split on whether it is right or wrong to use AI in sermon preparation, while only a quarter strongly reject this use. More than 5 in 6 have some pause on whether pastors should have a free pass on its use. McConnell added the caution may be from a desire to limit its use to certain activities or from not yet giving it morality much thought. Among denominations, Presbyterian and Reformed churchgoers registered the highest levels of concern about AI at 64%, followed by Baptists at 62%, while Methodists were the least worried at 48%. But that's no wonder, because they're woke on everything. Men were more likely than women to say they had no concern about AI's influence on Christianity, 31% to 25%. Churchgoers who attend services 1 to 3 times a month, 31%, were also more likely than regular weekly attendees to say they were unconcerned at 26%. Opinions was similarly divided on whether AI should be subject of a sermon, while 42% said they would find value in a sermon applying biblical principles to artificial intelligence. 43% were opposed and 25% among them disagreeing strongly. Younger churchgoers were more receptive to the idea. Those ages 18 to 29 and 30 to 49 were more likely than those 50 and other to say such a sermon would be worthwhile, at 50% and 53%, respectively, compared with 38% among those aged 50 to 64 and 33% among those 65 and older. Among pastors, adoption of AI is limited and uneven. 1 in 10 Protestant pastors describes themselves as a regular user, and a third, 32%, say they are experimenting with the technology. A further 18% are waiting to see more convincing examples of how AI might help before committing. At the same time, 18% are actively avoiding AI and 20% are simply ignoring it. AI is embedded in many tools we use every day. Some pastors may be using AI technology without even knowing they are, McConnell said. Pastors' use of AI for ministry reflects a typical spread of technology adoption, with a few avid users and plenty testing it out in different ways. Pastors who are more likely to be regular users or experimenters tend to be younger, based in cities, more formally educated, and leading larger congregations. Among those 65 and older, just 4% identify as regular users, and 23% say they are experimenting with AI in rural areas. 27% of pastors say they are ignoring the technology, compared with 18% in urban settings. Pastors without a college degree are the least likely to be regular users, 5%, while those with doctorate degrees are most likely at 14%. Congregations with 250 or more in attendees are disproportionately led by pastors who are experimenting at 43%, or regularly using 15% AI, according to Lifeway. Denomination lines are also evident. Lutheran and Baptist pastors are among the most resistant, with both groups the most likely to say they are ignoring the technology. 22% each are intentionally avoiding, 24% and 20% respectively. Holiness pastors, by contrast, are the most likely to be experimenting with AI, 43%, and to identify as regular users, 18%. Whatever their level of adoption, virtually all pastors raised at least one concern about AI in ministry. The most widely shared concern was that AI generated content contains errors requiring editorial corrections, cited by 84%. Some 81% said it was difficult to ensure AI tools drew only unreliable sources, and 76% said they believe biases may be embedded in how AI systems reach their conclusions. A majority of pastors, 62%, worried that those using AI in their work were not disclosing it as a collaborator. Concerns about plagiarism were raised by 59%, and 55% said God has always communicated through human beings, and that God has always communicated through human beings, and that AI is not a person. Evangelical pastors were more likely than mainline clergy to raise the concern, 58% to 51%, while mainline pastors were more likely to flag plagiarism, 65 to 56%. So this is what pastors are thinking on AI. My thing is, if you can't think up a sermon of your own, then don't use AI to do it for you. If you're meant to be a pastor, God will give you the gift of being able to put sermons together and to reverberate those to the parishioners who are in your church. My view is that AI should be stayed away from. Shalom, Maranatha, and Hallelujah.